Hey everyone, welcome to the Trail Vibe. My name is Victoria and this is my 13-foot Scamp camper. Scamp is a camper trailer brand based in Minnesota, founded in the 1970s. They sell 3 different sizes, the 13 feet, 16 feet, and 19 feet camper. I purchased mine off of Facebook Marketplace about a year ago and spent the summer renovating it to fit the look I was going for. So let's jump right into the tour. Starting with the exterior of the camper, on the door side is an awning from Renovated. It's really great to set up on days when I feel like sitting outside but want to stay in the shade. The camper also comes with a sliding screen, which allows for the door to stay open without the bugs coming inside, and you can do that with this handy latch to prop the door open. Moving on to the front of the camper is a dual propane setup to power the stove on the inside. There's a gauge for each tank to show how much gas each has, and to open the line you simply turn the knob of the tank you'd like to use. Behind the tank is the box that holds the battery, and this powers all of the lights on the inside of the camper. It can last quite a while without being charged. And above the battery is a storage compartment for the gray water hose, which is super handy because it does smell. Better to keep it on the outside of the camper. And at the front of the trailer is the jack and hitch. I tow the camper with a 2011 Honda Pilot. And the great thing about the Scamp is the fact that they are a lightweight camper, weighing only about 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, which can be towed by a smaller vehicle. Moving to the other side is the panel that controls the mini fridge inside the camper. You can run it on propane when you're at a campsite, or you can run it off of electricity, 12 volt while you're driving, or 120 volt when you're hooked up. And moving back is the city water connection and the outside power hookup. This can be plugged into a 30 or 15 amp source. Underneath the camper is a 20-gallon gray water tank, and to empty it I simply open it and then connect the hose from the front of the camper that I showed earlier, and then you pull on the lever. Moving on to the back side of the camper is the spare tire, rear jacks, and freshwater intake port, and you'll see on the inside that this leads into a 15-gallon water tank. Moving on to the inside of the camper, the first thing to the right of the door is the couch/bunk bed. It does convert to sleep 2 people, top and bottom. It also has overhead storage. This is where I keep the majority of my clothes. And underneath the bench it has storage compartments, 2 of which I'm currently not using, and the larger one underneath. This is where I keep most of my shoes that I wear, and it also has a storage bin for my laundry. And moving on to the next part of the tour is the kitchen, one of my favorite parts of this camper. I had such a great time picking out all of the designs and the color, and in the end it really turned out beautifully. The camper comes with a 2-burner stove by Suburban. It's powered by the propane gas that sits on the outside of the camper. Very easy to use. All you have to do is make sure that the gas knob is open from the outside. And then on the inside, you just turn the dial and hold a light to the burner. It'll turn on. And next to the stove is the sink. It's got a really handy cutting board that sits on top of it that you can remove. Really great for hiding dirty dishes that you don't want to do right away. There are 2 ways to get water into the sink. First is the city water connection over here. That has to be hooked up from the outside. The second is this hand pump. There's a water tank that sits underneath the bench by the table. It's 15 gallons. And the great thing about this is that it is not powered by electricity. All you have to do is just crank the lever and water will come out, and the only reason why none is not right now is because it's wintertime and I don't want the tank to freeze. And moving down below the sink, I built a beautiful rack for my hand towels. Really great to have those at the ready. And underneath the sink, if I just prop these 2 doors open right here, on this side is where I keep all of my pots and pans. Lots of storage underneath here. And on this side, this is where I currently keep my trash and recycling bins. Obviously it's pretty tiny, so those do need to get emptied out quite frequently, but it's a great place to keep that stuff for sure. Under the stove is the silverware drawer. This is where I keep all of my utensils and other cooking supplies. Usually there's a lot more packed into this drawer, but since it's winter time, I don't have everything in here at the moment. And underneath the silverware drawer is the Dometic mini fridge. I find I have no problem storing up to a week's worth of food in here, and when I am towing the camper, it does have a locking mechanism here to make sure that the fridge doesn't fly open. In the upper head cabinets is where I keep most of my food. It's got tons of storage up here. This could probably last me a couple weeks. And I also store my plates and my bowls to the right side as well. At the rear is the dinette. It can comfortably sit 4 people. I also do a lot of cooking here since there isn't much counter space in the kitchen. And under the right bench is where the electrical components for the SCAMP are stored. Under the left bench is the 15-gallon water tank. Hidden on the side of the counter is your standard outlet, and this can only be used when you're hooked up to shore power. There's also more overhead storage. I keep extra clothes up here. And as a little side note, it's worthwhile to mention that when you're towing a camper, you have storage space that comes with your vehicle. And for me, I've got tons of hiking and backpacking gear, so my car acts as a garage to store all of that, along with other overflow items like camp chairs, snow boots, etc. Back to the dinette, the table does flip down, and if you put all of the cushions together, it forms a bed. Lengthwise, it's about 6 feet, and very comfortable, in my opinion. And moving on to the last part of the camper is the closet. You could traditionally keep clothes in here, but I find it easier to keep my cleaning supplies on the top shelf here, followed by my camera gear, work laptop, all of my other electronics in that backpack on the second shelf. And finally, in the bottom, this is where I store all of my bedding. And just a few more things to note about the inside of the camper. On the roof here is the AC unit. And this only works when it's plugged into a hookup, but it works extremely well, especially on those really hot summer nights when you're out camping and want a good night's sleep. The camper does have interior lights, and these are powered by the battery. Does not have to rely on the hookup, besides this one main light that is underneath the kitchen. And that'll be a wrap on the SCAMP tour. Thank you so much for following along. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you like this video, share it with your friends, and you can also follow me at The Trail Vibe on Instagram, TikTok, trailvibe.com. That'll all be linked in my bio, so go check those out. And until then, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!